All right. So, while since I've been on camera, but I just want to say I joined another book club. My existing one, I don't think in my neighborhood is happening anymore, but I joined another book club, but I don't want to participate. All right. So, if you're new to my channel, thanks for joining. I'm the Black Opinionated Woman, also known as a Bo. I talk about whatever I want to talk about. I don't always niche down or whatever the word is, right? I just share my both thoughts, and that's where I'm at with it. So let's get on into it. So yes, I'm going to come off camera because it's a lot easier for me to not have all of this like glare and stuff like that. So I'm going to be on camera so I can turn off my light. Okay, so this is the deal. I joined a book club. Sorry, I'm trying to get. Oh no, this deer did not just run across my path. Lord Jesus. All right, sorry, I'm getting myself together. Getting myself together. So look, I joined the book club because I actually enjoy being in community. My kids go to a new school, and I'm trying to make sure I'm part of the community because I like to have an idea of what's going on with my kids, and just the people that they're around and who are their new friends, the parents, and all these things. So I joined this book club, and my understanding is there are two books. I'm not sure if it's a quarter or if it's a semester. I don't remember. And I was like, okay, that shouldn't be a heavy lift. What I didn't realize was it was a heavy lift. Not because of the reading, it was because of me. I I like being in community, but I've come to the conclusion I don't I think I don't know if I want to do the work. Meaning I read the book. We had a book club meeting maybe a couple weeks ago, and I didn't go. And then they emailed me. They're like, "Yo, what's going on? Is everything okay? Like, did you read the book? Blah blah blah." And I had read the book. I was completely prepared. But I realized, besides the fact that I think I was just drained, I was like physically drained, emotionally drained, just from everything. Right? I I think I'm just getting to the point where I pick and choose how I want to engage, right? And I think when I joined the book club, I wanted to be in community, but I deep down I knew that in order to be in community, like you need to give something. And I find that oftentimes now, I'm not sure how much I want to participate or give. I understand it's a phase, but I'm curious if anybody has been in this phase. Because this is the thing. When you're in a book club, or at least in my opinion, it depends on what the purpose of the book club is. Some book clubs are purely for social. Some are for intellectual stimulation. Some of it's networking, or it can be all the things. But in order to really be a participant, you typically have to engage in some sort of way. And I realized that I wasn't prepared to engage. I wasn't prepared to provide a part of me. Because see, this is the thing. Even if you think that, okay, I don't want to be that social, the club is social. And when you are talking about the book, you know, one of the things I've learned is when people give their opinions, commentary, etc., they're coming from a point of view. They have a lens based off of their current environment, maybe their past, whatever. And I know sometimes my little slick mouth wants to pop off because sometimes people will say things where I feel like they don't read the room. Heck, I know I don't always read the room, but when I'm reading these books and I listen to people talk, and I'm like, how did you get that? and I feel like I can be judging. And I don't know how much patience I have. So now I know I missed the first one and they were looking for me, apparently. I didn't think they cared that much until there was a reach out. So now I know I need to show up to this next one coming up in a couple of weeks, 2 or 3 weeks. And I don't know what it is about me right now, but I do know this. When you are in community with people, that still requires you to give something. You can't be selfish, right? Because you won't be in community. And I guess for me is I know that if I go or when I go to this next book club, I need to participate. Now, oddly enough, when one of the book club members or the one who's running it reached out to me about the last book, I thought it was a really interesting email because the book that I read, I was kind of like, I read the book and I felt like I, I had a perspective that I thought was quite negative. But when I read the email about the how the people who were there when they were discussing the book, I found that we were somewhat similar in thought. Here I am thinking that I was like, I don't know about this. I don't agree with half, like most of this stuff. It just, and I'm thinking that I'm on an island by myself. And the fact of the matter was, because I didn't go to the book club and I didn't get in community with people and I didn't share my thoughts and I wasn't willing to hear, what happened was I missed out on learning that many people felt, maybe they didn't use the words the way I would have used them, but, or way I would have named it, but they felt similarly. Anyway, I wanted to be in a book club to read the books. I wanted to hear what people's thoughts were, but I guess I just didn't want to have to actually participate. I wanted to be a passive, active member, if that even makes any sense. I wanted to passively participate, actively listen, and not passively contribute. And I don't think that's fair to anyone else. But anyway, I think the biggest thing was knowing that when you're starting in a book club with new people, you've got to get to know the personalities. You got to get to know their thoughts. You know that people come from different backgrounds, they have different points of view. And I think for me, I just didn't have it in me to engage, at least not when we had our first book club. But I think this speaks more to who I am right now, which is I'm 49 years old and I don't want to engage as much. Now I'm going to give you a sidebar. Um, when I am attending one of my kids' sports practices, there's one particular group, or this one particular practice, I had found that I engaged with one person, maybe two, but like I just found that I didn't have a whole lot in common from what I could tell with some of the others. And there was always this one person who would come in and seemed just incredibly negative and messy and gossipy. And it turned me off because this particular person had nothing nice to say about anyone. And then he gets back to me about how this one particular person was saying something just completely disparaging about another parent. And I had witnessed the complete opposite. This person was just saying a bunch of stuff. And I'm like, that's literally not even true. Now, it wasn't my dog to fight, but I just didn't want, and I think that's the reason why I just don't want to be in community. Like I want to be in community, but I don't know if I want to do what it takes to be in community with people because I don't want to deal with that sort of thing, right? I'm liable to pop off and say something. Now, the information that had been shared with me was not shared with me directly, so I didn't want to, engage and say, well, I heard this, that, and the other. It wasn't about me, but, I just didn't like what was being said about this other parent when I had witnessed the opposite, right? I don't know. I think that's the reason why I'm just kind of like at the point where they say it's so hard to make friends and everything like that. Not to say that I'm making friends, but I don't want to deal with it. I think I'm just in this space where I'm like, you know what? I'm good right now with just me, my thoughts, my coffee, you know, my family. I mean, of course, I engage with friends and stuff outside, but I guess where I'm going with it was because I feel like I'm getting off track. The point I wanted to make was I joined a book club so I can be in community with people at my kids' school, at their new school. But I recognized that when I joined, I'm like, do I really? Because that would require me to discern, which just seems like too much of an emotional heavy lift. I would have to engage. And I'm like, I don't know how much I truly want to engage. I wanted to just selfishly read the book and passively listen. But I realized via the email that I got that this was definitely going to be a very active participation. And I didn't want to actively participate. Anyway, this was kind of like a short little, I don't even want to call it a rant. It was just something, an observation I noticed about myself and where I am right now. You know, um, when they say like when you get older, no new friends. And it's not that people aren't open to new friends, but I can understand why people are like, I don't want to deal with it, right? You don't want to have to start all over. You don't want to have to build foundation. You don't want to have to discern. You don't want to, what I mean? You don't want to have to do all the things in order to weed out, you know, the good, the bad, the ugly. All right, that's pretty much all I got. This was not meant to be, like wildly deep. We weren't going to deep dive on a whole bunch of stuff. But if you like the content, go ahead and subscribe. I know I don't come on camera as much, but go ahead and subscribe. And if there's something compelling that you would like me to discuss, I'm more than willing to give it a crack. Um, but yeah, I've been definitely, I think, giving myself space away from creating tons of videos. All right. Until next time, I guess I should come on camera and say goodbye. Okay, hold on, let me get my light together. Hey! Oh, by the way, you guys like my hair? Hair? It's just like a little bit of an ombre, in fact. I'm always doing something. All right. You have a good one.